Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're getting right into what has been a big ask from the community, the best tracking Kovaaks scenarios for Apex Legends. So remember, Kovaaks is like a gym, so at the end of the day, you really just got to get into the game and play and really get better. But the gym is a perfect place to build a foundation, to work on things that don't necessarily make sense to go head on first in a real world scenario. An example would be trying out a new grip style and seeing what feels comfortable before you go full 100% end game. This is a perfect moment to mess around, play with settings, and see what works for you and what does not. So just to note, I'm not going to be super flashing aiming in these scenarios. I want you just to see the raw bots moving back and forth while we talk about them. Apex Legends is very tracking heavy and can be very intense on your aim in game. It's really all about utilizing your full 360 movement, flicking, and you never really know sometimes where an enemy is going to come out of nowhere, as we most infamously know, third parties. So one issue I see most players on a low sensitivity is being able to have full range of your motion or moving around your full mouse across your mouse pad. Even high sensitivity players have this issue. They lift way too much, or when they are lifting, they're not lifting their mouse properly. This will give you a lot more precise wiggle room as you continue to improve. So first off, let's go with the first recommendation. Tile Frenzy 360 strafing 400%. I recommend setting your FOV to 130 Overwatch. Try not to lift your mouse and practice moving from target to target. When you have done so, you're going to notice first off how much you lift, the space you're encompassing, and if you do lift, how to practice doing so in a more efficient manner. Now, one scenario for really reeling in your high sensitivity and practicing the smooth motion is Bounce 180 tracking small invincible fixed. This scenario is really amazing even for a low sensitivity player because this is the opposite spectrum of what we just talked about. I really recommend going the opposite spectrum and running a really low FOV around 80 Overwatch. What you're going to see is how much your aim stutters and what you can really fix out of the ruggedness of your overall aim. Especially in Apex Legends with recoil, you're going to see how little you need to make adjustments. Now, as we dive deeper, shift through various FOV settings, just as a recommendation as we go over the remainder bit, I will sometimes go to 103 Overwatch, my Apex Legends ADS FOV, or my Apex Legends 2X FOV, which is around 48. Overall, we're fixing how much you're overflicking and how much you need to slow down your overall movement. Now we cover utilizing the overall mouse pad with large movement and of course small movement. Let's really break down where the fun begins in Apex Legends, that 80-80 movement and fast gunfight encounters. So first off, let's start off with Thin Gauntlet version 2. Because I recommend the scenario, it's the first one you want to build off for a very smooth aim, but just making sharp adjustments. One issue when we get into the others is you're going to find how jittery your aim is. And even if it's not jittery, there's always room for improvement. So make sure you're very smooth, and even if you are slow and falling behind, focus on a smooth motion and build up speed over time. So take it slow. This scenario is great and provides a lot of different speeds after you kill the target, so you're keeping things fresh. Now let's move over to Ground Plaza. This is probably one of the most annoying scenarios, but also the most helpful in Kovaaks. This one's really amazing because it gives you a wide variety of tracking. Specifically, ones that apply to Apex are Ground Plaza 7 and Ground Plaza 8. So you can really isolate these. If you type these in individually, you'll do just that specific movement, or you'll get to face that specific bot over and over and over again. Ground Plaza 7 really highlights that in-your-face movement spam we see so much in Apex. It can get really overwhelming, and this is one positive way to really grind out, and it really separates it out. So when you're in-game, movement's going to feel a lot slower. Now, Ground Plaza 8 is the exact opposite. It's a fast movement, but also further away, so not in your face, but also just really far away, which you're going to run into quite a bit, especially when you're facing against opponents who can 80-80 spam effectively at a pretty sizable range. These have very quick movements back and forth. It is definitely harder than most scenarios you'll run into and will feel like you're underutilizing a lot of your muscles. So once you practice it, put it all together, and then just do Ground Plaza. Now, two that are also helpful, that are really popular and very famous in Kovaaks are Close Fast Strafe, Easy Invincible, and Long Fast Strafe Invincible. These are really stock and cookie cutter. It's just one bot that you're facing, but they're really great for long on-screen movement and also that close fast strafing. It's not as fast as Ground Plaza 7, but it's definitely a lot more manageable, so at least you get yourself a little buffer here. it helps work with thin gauntlet does, but on a larger target that's up close, which again occurs a lot in Apex Legends. There's tons of variations that I'm not covering here, like Icy Kata, which are very fantastic. At this point, when you start getting this granular with the bots, you're just starting to get more refined in specifically what you want to work on. There's really not a best scenario. As you get better, you're going to find flaws. So locate which is a big problem so you can isolate it, then hop in game. Or just be aware of weird habits you formed. You just want to build an awareness. And of course, as you need, you can also practice in your full vertical movement because there is recoil in Apex. So hop into Air Invincible and work on your overall tracking across a full range of motion. This is great just to practice a full 360 without any flicking, and getting, again, used to your full mouse pad. Try not to lift, but of course it's not an issue when you lift. Just know when you need to and when you actually don't need to lift. So when you need to flick and how you adjust for it, right? Now, movement is best practice in Apex Legends, but if you're not feeling confident and you just need that safe space to practice, let's discuss two that are really perfect. We're going to take Air Invincible, now we're going to do Air Dodge, and Air Dodge 3, 4, 7, 8. These are really both perfect as you incorporate your movement and hitting targets. It's taking Air Invincible and now adding movement. There's a meter on the bottom left, so you don't just hug one direction and constantly need to keep moving back and forth, which is what you're going to be doing in Apex Legends quite a bit once you get into a gunfight. Again, this is a base because you really should be in-game practicing it, but this is, again, a really positive place where you can pop in some music and just get used to the motion, especially if you're using a different grip style, or perhaps if you're trying to get used to fingertip grip, or maybe you're just learning how to palm your mouse. Any one of those really work. You should also try LGC3 Reborn. This one also helps massively improve your 80-80 spam while moving. You need to realize, though, how little you need to actually move your mouse when tracking, especially when there's recoil involved. Even on a lower sensitivity, you will find this requires way less movement than you realize. Now the question, how often should I practice, and how often? Well, I would say maybe around 15 minutes a day, then hop in game. It could be even less, just as long as you feel warmed up and you got some of the foundations of what you practice before you go in game. I know there's some passionate like myself that can vibe out for a really long time and just keep shooting targets. It is fun to just escape and listen to music, but what you need to realize if you have a really busy schedule or if you have other things to do besides just gaming, 15 minutes is more than enough to isolate and then just hop in game. And most don't really get the opportunity to game all day, because even if you do, just hop in game. I know Kovaaks can be daunting, so I hope really discussing some of these scenarios really help you achieve your goals as you continue to improve in Apex Legends. I really appreciate all the support on the channel. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe for more content. We post 4 videos a week here on the channel. We also stream every single Sunday. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.